Hey y'all, name is Alex Haines. I'm an independent artist and I am currently unsigned. Born and raised in small town, big fish in a little pond. Soon enough I'm gonna leave it, gonna give the world a show. Lord knows I didn't have my Yeah, so I have actually been thinking quite a lot about this one here, and I gotta tell you, for me it's always been the audience, the people I've been playing for. And I think the moment when I knew I wanted to do this the rest of my life was, well, first time I played for a big audience, seeing them all so happy, so enjoying the music, and just like, I just absolutely fell in love with it in that moment. So I was at a private party for a gig back home in Treasure Lake. I just stepped outside for a little bit to basically catch my cool before my show. I always do that. And I step into my truck real quick, and I just go up to scratch my throat real quick. And all of a sudden I see something fuzzy. And I started looking at it, and immediately I realized what it was, and I just whacked my throat, and a bee left a sting on my throat when I did, right before I'm about to go on. So I get out of there, I tell the people I'm doing that, and I basically go on to the show and like power through having stung by a bee for like 3 hours, and by the end of it I was just like, I could not believe I actually got through a show with a bee sting on my throat. Heartland rock, southern rock, that's the genre. Basically, when I always describe it, I always describe my top 3 artists: Bruce Springsteen, John Mellencamp, Chris Stapleton. Just the 3 of them. Just like, those are like my big inspirations in the genre I'm looking to get. And frankly, Heartland rock just sums it up perfect, like really perfectly. What keeps me going is seeing the reaction on my audience's faces. I mean, I do it for them. I do it just to satisfy my audience, because I love my audience. Like, I really do. Like, seriously. Like, it's what keeps me going in this business. It really is. Just like, seriously. Because we got a hard business. I'm not gonna lie. We have a hard business here, and yeah, I've had those moments when I've had dead shows. Honestly, like, there was this time when I like had 3 days of shows lined up, and all 3 of those days nobody was there. And I'm not gonna lie, during that stretch, it was like, it kind of got me wondering if I was cut out for it, to be honest. Because honestly, I have a hard time playing for an empty room, and I know we have those days when we have to, but I'm not gonna lie, it's been a bit of a tough thing for me to handle, to be honest. And whenever those events happen, I just power through it and continue on. But I'm not gonna lie, like, a few years ago when I had that happen, it really made me consider whether I wanted to do this or not. And probably the closest I've come to giving it up, to be honest. And then I had a couple of shows where it was packed and crowded, and it reminded me why I wanted to do this in the first place. So really it is just it's a balance. It's up and down. You get your highs, you get your lows. It's just sticking through it and remembering why you're doing this. That's why you do it. I'd say there's quite a bit different that is good and bad. Like, it's much easier to get music made today than it was back then, because like back then you like had to move to a city, like you had to find a record label, pay for a recording studio. Today you can just record it in your basement. Like seriously, like you can buy equipment and record it in your basement. I consider that as like a very positive thing, because now you can easily make the music you want to make today. Back then you had to go through all these loops, and those loops no longer exist now today because of modern technology. That said though, I do also think because you can have it's kind of like a double-edged sword, like because everybody can do it now, it's also like really inflated the market at the moment. And I will admit that does happen a lot. Like it is something that like there's so many of us doing this that it's become a lot less special to do this. And I will admit that is something I do lament about the modern music business. But honestly, but like I said, just like any business, any change, there's good, there's bad. You gotta take both, basically, in order to have a business, basically.
So who is Alex Haines outside of music?
Not gonna lie, I am a total film nerd. I just love films. I love watching films. I love making films. I love, well, you know, it's sort of my hobby to just sort of gather some film equipment and try to film some stuff. Like seriously, like I also like to try to read a bit. Like I've got a couple books. I must admit I'm currently going through the Game of Thrones books at the moment. So basically when I'm not making music, I'm immersing myself in stories, immersing myself in film, books, just all sorts of things, man. I know Kubrick has been a big fan of mine. I absolutely love Stanley Kubrick's works. Like The Shining was like one of the first films of his that I saw. I was literally like 12 or 13 when I saw it too, and when you're starting out in horror, you want to start off with like maybe Halloween or Friday the 13th. Don't go straight into The Shining like I did, because man, that movie scars you for life. And I just like, ugh. But yeah, no, that was like my gateway into it. Like, because honestly, I love horror movies. Like the last 5 years of mine, I've just been like on a huge horror movie binge. Like seriously, like I've been into Evil Dead, I've been into A24 movies. Like seriously, like Robert Eggers from The Witch, Hereditary. Like just some of my favorite movies have just been from the last few years, and from A24 too. Like seriously, like oh my god, it's just been such an inspiration for me. Like it's just one of my favorite genres, and a very good one for any aspiring filmmaker to start out with, because like you could literally just like go out into the middle of the woods with a bunch of your friends and just film a movie there, you know? Like it's just such an accessible genre, you know? So absolutely. Screw the real job. I absolutely think 100% you can do this for a career. Like seriously. I mean, there is a difference. Doing this for a living and doing this to get famous are two very different things. I think if you're trying to do this to get famous, yes, you will probably fail, crash and burn. But if you're doing this for a living, if you're like really good on your guitar, can sing well enough, like absolutely you can make this a career. Like seriously, I believe 100% that if you want this to be your career, you can absolutely make this your career. So, absolutely. If you're thinking about doing it with that mindset, go for it, for sure. You probably may never be famous. You might not get Taylor Swift big, but you can absolutely do this. Like, there's no shortage of live music around here. Like, seriously. Like, you work hard enough, you can get gigs, you can make an honest living out.
Any final words?
Oh boy, we're circling back to that. Well, final words. Peace. Hey, it's okay. Peace out. There. Those are final words. All right?
And we're good with the episode.
Born and raised in a small town, big fish in a little pond. Soon enough I'm gonna leave it, gonna give the world a show. Lord knows I didn't have my funny, right whenever I can. Now it's time for me to spread my wings. I'm heading out to make a stand. That's why I'm headed for the big town. I'm running faster than a speeding train. Yeah, I'm headed for the big town. It's time to make a change. I say I saved enough to make it happen. I got all set in stone. Soon enough I'm gonna leave it, gonna give the world a show.